Hey, good morning. It's an early Sunday morning. I just left my workshop and I'm heading over to an artist that is known for his wood carving. He is a master carver. Um, we're going to do this in conjunction with Simply Wood Studios and Create Collective. Create Collective is our nonprofit that we established last year, and this nonprofit is geared towards entrepreneurship for artists. And we're going to launch this talk story segment with the Create Collective here. So without further ado, let's get to it. Aloha, this is Aaron coming at you from Simply Wood Studios, and today we're doing a talk story episode in conjunction with our nonprofit called Create Collective. And the focus of that nonprofit is to help artists become entrepreneurs. So today I wanted to interview Francisco Clemente. He is actually one of the artists that we sell at our store at Simply Wood Studios. He is a master bowl carver and wood turner, and today we just wanted to talk story about what got him started, what inspires him, and what he likes about doing his business. So this is Francisco Clemente. He actually came from Spain originally.
Born and raised in Spain.
So he has a Spanish accent, and he came to Hawaii in the 1960s.
1980.
Oh, 1980. Oh, you came to the US in the 60s.
I came in the United States in 1974.
74, okay.
I was born in 1945
Okay.
in Huelva, Spain.
Okay, so he came to Hawaii, he enjoyed it, he laid on the beach and he did all kind of stuff that he told me about that I can't explain to you. But then he got interested in, he was doing contracting back in Vegas.
Yeah.
And then he moved to Hawaii, enjoyed himself for a little bit, and then started his own contracting business here. Mm-hmm. And that's how he got interested in wood. And explain to me how you started wood turning.
I was doing furniture at the time. Yeah, in addition, construction includes whatever is business. So I was doing a job. They offered me to make a bedroom set, and they wanted a style called shaker style, which is very minimalistic. And I did the job, of course. They showed me a picture. I said, "Oh, that's no problem. It's very simple." So when I look at the headboard, I realized that the posts are round and have the finials on the top. So I ran into that predicament. I never done anything round. So I tried to look around, and I found a wood turning outfit, and they gave me a price that was. So for me, it was ridiculous. Maybe not for them, as a business, But I figured, well, that's not in my plan. So I ended up looking the way to do it. So I went to Slim Power Tools in the old days, and I bought a lathe, a Delta lathe. I think I paid $300, something like that. And I booked it, and I came home and set it up. It was in a box. I set it up. And I went to City Mill, pick up some 2x2 pine, an 8-footer, and I cut in, chop in small pieces. And I get a set of tools that I bought with the lathe, and I started to use the gouge to rough, the roughing out gouge is called, it's a bigger round one. And not too bad. Finally, I get into the point where it's round all the way. So at the beginning, you go, undulate until finally, well, that's okay, another one. I tell you, I think I can do that. So I got my wood. It was cherry wood. And at the beginning, because it's 4x4, square, so it's okay, it doesn't matter. But by the time I was there, I already had, it was going beautiful. And I go with my hands, I didn't need the caliper until I knew what the thickness was. So I go with my hands, so it's an undulation, I get the feeling of it. And there was a trip and a half, to fill the wood in not on the construction form, it's just when it's round, it slides on your hand. It gives you a feeling of connection
So
with
rather just doing
the
table
media,
saw work and all that stuff, you
Yeah,
actually
it
do
was-
the free form.
Yeah,
That's
it was-
why I like turning, because making boxes, everything has to be exact.
Yeah, well, it has to technique of making boxes, the precision of it.
Yes.
The cutting has to be precise, no gaps in between. And
The
that I,
turning is
I
like
really I
freeform.
really admire that type of work, because I've done some of that on my own, especially when I was making furniture, but and they did boxes as well. But anyway, back to this, I finished the legs, the balls, and then the finial. I had a problem. It's a different type of form. It's not round. It has it had to use different tools. Yeah. So I use the parting tool and the skew chisel, which is the hardest one to master. The skew chisel is very hard because that's when you go into the carving round. So I did one, and it was very nice. And I had to make the other one for the other side. It had to be exactly
You
the
had
same.
to match it and all that stuff.
And even with caliper, I couldn't do it. So I just freehand and looking at.
But they're far apart from each other, so you
Yeah,
can see
far
it,
apart, 5 feet from the headboard, you cannot tell unless you put it right close together like that. So anyway,
Show me your first piece you showed me earlier.
and the booklet that came with the lathe with the tools, they say project number 1, a candle holder, and since I have enough wood left in there on the side of there, and
So this is actually the wood that was from the
no,
bed.
that was for another
this is extra wood.
another wood, not from the cherry. The cherry was
So
just
this is
for
his
the bed.
very first project. This is a candlestick holder he made in 1998. 1998.
And it was the beginning of my life as a woodworker, as a wood artist, I would say. Because when you get to this type of form, it's art versus craft. This is craft, and this is art. So anyway.
Okay, so tell me about what inspires you when you look at a piece of wood like this, and how you came up with your freeform carving.
Form like that, well, I always say that the wood dictates its own form. You have to connect with the media, which in this case the wood, and the tool, and it's like a meditation. You reach nirvana when all is united. So when you start to work with it, the spirit of the wood will manifest itself in a form, and you just you have to know how to do it, of course. But you're inspired by the connection with the wood, and sometimes you find some crevices or some bad inclusion. In this case, I don't want to bother with this, but sometimes because of this, you have to change direction.
Yeah.
But the overall form.
So basically, you feel what the wood is doing when you're carving it, and that's what gives you the form.
Yeah. And in cases like this, for instance, this was a very unusual piece of koa that was in a house, and the ground buried for 30-something years. And somebody dig it out, and they couldn't work with it, very hard.
So this is koa that was all the way in the ground, more of the root system.
Yeah.
And this is all bug eaten here, and it's salvage wood. And what he does is he likes to fill the cracks and stuff like that with either brass powder or bronze powder.
Bronze powder.
Yeah.
It's bronze.
Yeah.
Bronze, you can use silver
Yeah.
powder for the matter. Pewter, I use pewter sometimes, which are the poor man's silver in the old days. And whatever metal, or sometimes I use sawdust, if you want, from the same wood to plug. So whichever way, that is where.
But you like to get a lot of salvaged wood and stuff like that. That
the
nobody
idea,
else wants.
I love to work with salvage wood. The leftover people don't want it for whatever reason, because they cannot make a bowl out of this piece. Or this piece, make a bowl out of this. Your bowl will sit the size of my fist, because the rest is waste.
Yeah.
So when you utilize the whole wood, then it's the whole thing instead of just.
So this piece right here, this is actually juniper, and Francisco helped me cut down my neighbor's juniper trees that have been there for over 40 years, since I was a kid. And so we cut it down, and the reason why I don't do bowl turning and carving like this is, one, I'm not good at it, I'm not that talented, and two, it's these raw logs of lumber, raw logs of bowl blanks are very heavy. And Francisco likes to make these bowls when the wood is wet. So
When the wood is green.
Green, sorry, wet green. So when I try to help Francisco lift these logs into the back of his truck, they're just too heavy. And there's no way I'm going to be doing that. Francisco is, what did you say, 75?
75.
75. He's 75 years old and he's still carrying logs as heavy as I am. He has a dolly here with a pulley and stuff like that, but yeah, it's not something that I plan on doing anytime soon. So now tell me, when did you think this would be a good way of making money?
Making
money from this.
Making money.
To support your habit.
When the people can understand and appreciate the value of what we do.
Yeah.
Because that is the problem that we have, the wood artists. Now it's getting better, but people don't understand what is involved in something like this. This if you can do it with clay, it's safe and it's your hands and you create a form.
So this took you 25 hours, you said earlier?
Say what?
So far? How long did this take you to make so far?
Oh, this already
it's not even finished yet.
So far I work for 8, 16, 18, about 20 hours.
About 20 hours in this.
Of the carving. On the
It's
carving.
not finished yet.
Yeah.
This is just a carving. He's sanding it down now, and he still has to finish it and wax it and stuff like that.
I think the difficulty of this is not the outside, it's the inside.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you carve inside over there, you have this grinder that is 4.5 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
You have to use one hand. When you get to here, you already you can see a little bit where you can, but if you catch, that thing will bang against the paper pan and it will fly this out, you can get hurt, so it's a lot of control to do this because you have to use one hand to hold it and your finger has to be all out of the way, so you have to get a way that you can.
So if it catches and it shatters, you can shatter your finger.
You can get your finger, my finger is one time went up sideways.
Yeah, that's a lovely thought.
That goes with the territory.
That's a real lovely thought.
But even delayed is dangerous. Don't get me wrong. You put a log like this one over here on the lathe, and if you make a mistake, you catch or you go through it, it will fly out.
I've had my experience. So my first bowl that I was making was a Norfolk pine bowl, and I was doing it in the garage. I had a 20-inch lathe, Powermatic. I caught the edge, it flew off the truck, and it dented my motorcycle behind me. It actually flew right over my shoulder, right past my face. And that's when I said, okay, I'm not gonna be making
that's
any
another
bowls
part of the people don't understand what is involved making a bowl. Yeah, and toward this stage, like this could be a simple one to make.
Yeah.
But when you make the turn in here at a certain RPM, you can stop, and if you cut, so the beginning of this is hard.
Yeah.
So there are more lathes in garages covered with tarp, and actually people doing bowls or whatever. Because the beginners, they get infatuated with the idea. They take a course where they do the open form, which is very simple, and they buy that lathe and all this stuff.
And then it gets a lot harder, and then they don't have the patience.
They want to do something like this, and they don't realize that this takes time
to
master the tool. And some people...
I was one of those people.
Yeah.
So, tell me about your first craft fair. You're talking about it. You said you did Caroline's.
Yeah, that was Caroline Fair. That's the Blaisdell, the day after Thanksgiving. They call Caroline Fair.
So your neighbor from across the street convinced you to.
The neighbor across the street. I was making already, in addition to the candle holder, I was making leader boxes like this one over here. With the lid, they're gonna lead the box. This one is a little bigger, but smaller, about half the size of this. With the lid, a whole bunch of them, and the neighbor across the street saw me doing this. And I said, why don't you sell those things at the craft fair? I'm going to the craft fair Caroline. I do some crochet. I don't know what she was doing. And she said, I can take them and see what happens and look for you. So I gave her about 18, 20 of the boxes. And they came that night, Juana, what happened? He said, I sold them all. I said, wow. So clean. I'm making boxes every day. So I hooked up with Caroline Fair. And I was doing Caroline, doing candle holders and leader boxes for a few years. So called the evolution of that. Like one time you just get better. Once you can master the tool, then you want to enlarge and you get the ball.
So then you get hooked on your habit, what I call a habit.
Right.
It's kind of an addiction, like you're talking about. And I had the same experience when I first did my first craft fair, and I did really well. And I was like, ooh, I can make a living doing this. And what I did was I gave up my financial job over the next few years just to start making pens. And a lot of artists have that same revelation throughout their artistry or their hobby, and they turn it into a business.
It developed, yeah.
Yeah, and what I'm trying to get across is you have to price your products so that you can actually make a living doing so, because most artists aren't fortunate where they can get Social Security or a pension or have a secondary income.
Yeah.
But you and I are fortunate we can actually make a living doing that.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so we're gonna get into some video of you carving or doing some of your work. And
yeah, we're gonna do. I'm not gonna do something premeditated. I'm gonna do something improvised, which is how I do it.
Just make a lot of mess.
Yeah, when I come to my shop to work in the morning, I don't have any preconceived idea of what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
I just happen to enter the thing and I look around, and all of a sudden I connect with one piece, and that is that piece. I don't care. I don't do commission work like I make 20 balls and I had to make 20 balls. That is definitely not for me. I'd rather do my business, the construction, that's enough. So I connect with one piece and I start to work with it. So what today we're gonna get one piece out of the pile that is in there, and I'm gonna get a piece that I'm looking at it in there already, that is perfect for what I want to do, and it's camphor wood.
Oh,
the reason is
camphor smells really good.
Camphor is nice, the smell in the shop, as opposed to the Milo that is down below.
Yeah.
And the core, I don't want to work with a core today.
Well, you can't work with Milo because I'm allergic to it. So if
right.
you work with Milo,
so we're going to work camphor.
Yeah.
I can also work with this, but I will have to cut one piece. But the one is already a chunk in there.
We're just going to show you making a mess.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, we're going to set up this to make noise. Now come the fun part.